So, welcome everybody. I am recording this one more time. When I had recorded it a prior week, I had forgotten to record the first half, and I started off with the Five of Wands and onward. So, I will be doing this first half here, and then you can watch the part 2 video that is already up in your Podia platform. So this week we're going over the last of the minor arcana. It's very, very exciting. Tying it all in together, we have the wands. Okay, so disregard the dates down below because they no longer pertain to us. We're going to be going over what we've been going over every previous week, with the exception of the first 2 weeks. We're going to talk about the wand suit, the page of wands, all the way to king of wands, the court cards, and the Ace of Wands all the way to the 10 of Wands. So the fire suit here you see in your left-hand corner is what is supposed to be some representation of a wand. I don't recall what this deck is, but there's fire coming out of it, essentially because the elemental force that is associated with wands is fire. Okay, and fire has its own energetic characteristic that obviously differs from the rest of the suits. The fire element deals with our individual energy. Okay, it is going to tell us how we transmit and project our energy at other people, situations, things, events, scenarios. The wands communicate the amount of passion we have and motivation, or lack thereof. So if you don't see any wands in a spread or in a pull, that could be very indicative of either you're okay with the amount that you have going on right now, you don't really need any fire element, or you have none, right? And you will need some sort of a boost there. The wands convey our sexual desires. It deals a lot with sexuality, deals a lot with spirituality, as well as the cups deals a lot with spirituality too. Right? And it also talks about the theme of determination and courage, strength and ambition, having vigor, having vision, having courage, expanding and growing, ambition, leadership, intensity. All of this is communicated in the suit of the wands, which provides insight on how we are the way we are, why we are the way we are, our personalities, characteristics, our personal purpose or lack thereof. All right. So the page of wands, if you're looking at this image here is from the Ghetto Tarot deck. And as with all pages, and we've studied the pages in the other suits, it is the first card that really kind of corresponds to the youth, corresponds to naivety and maturity and not having enough experience starting off a journey, so to speak, learning, having that inquisitive nature, that beginner's mind. When you put the page and the fire element together, you get the page of wands. And this is someone who's got that spark, got that gusto. They're free-spirited, they're ambitious, they're explorer. They want to explore new opportunities, new ways of doing things. They want to get out of the monotony and the rut that they find themselves in and try something new. It's almost like a rebirth, right? They have a crazy inquisitive nature to find out what else is out there for me. Even though I might not know that there's something out there for me, I'm going to go find it. I'm going to go invent it. I'm going to seek a way. I want to learn, right? So they can be very bold. They can be very confident. They can be willing to put themselves out there to do the work. There's strong potential in the page of wands. So if you pull one, there could be like, there's a lot coming up for you in terms of you expanding your horizons, who you are as an individual, seeking new insights and education, or maybe even traveling. This could also be a messenger or a person coming to you with these characteristics, or a person coming to you that gets the ball rolling, that it initiates or sparks these elements within you, the fire element within you, right? So we've got this energetic sense of being curious and playful and open-minded, right? Innovative thinking, think of something new, getting into something new, think of like a child exploring their horizons when they first arrive at Earth, right? They don't know what anything is, but they're so curious and eager to get into everything. They want to put everything in their mouths. They want to climb. They want to tumble. They want to tear up pages. They want to, do all the things because that is their way of learning and exploring their world around them. All right, so the Page of Wands can be very highly energetic. Again, we're talking about the element of wands, so it's that fiery, intense nature. It could be a leader, it could be successful, it could be prompting you to go where your inspiration leads you. If there is a will, there is a way. There is spontaneity. Get out of the box. Don't close yourself in. Be original, right? But in the opposite direction, in the negative orientation, the reversal could be somebody who's very sloppy, careless, impulsive. They're rushing their work. They're not thinking before they're doing things. There's either, instead of initiating something or going for something, there's a lack of, maybe there's a delay, or maybe Spirit's telling you, no, don't go for this right now. Or maybe you did go for something and it was too rushed and you were getting the Page of Wands in reverse, right? It could be signs of someone who is copying you, someone who doesn't have originality, or you're not thinking outside the box. You're being mundane. You're being you're letting yourself get into some sort of monotonous cycle that is not allowing you to reach your full potential. Or perhaps you're reading about a relationship, you get the Page of Wands in reverse, and you guys are not trying anything new, or there's no spark in the relationship, right? Or it's like you play safe instead of letting the flames tend to the relationship and nurture the relationship, right? This could also be, the energy, if you get the Page of Wands reverse, could also show the energy of someone who is too predictable, or they think they're old, they can't do something. I'm too old to do this. I can't dress that way anymore. I can't go for that degree, or, that's a little, I'm too old to try on this new social media phase because I don't want to do that to my business or whatever. I'm just giving random examples, right? There could be somebody who is actually not a visionary, who is not thinking outside the box, right? So they lack that ingenuity, they lack that creativity, they lack that vision. Because also, seeing this in reverse, maybe they're not in tune with themselves, or they're not in tune with their inner child. Or there's some sort of trauma with wanting to go seek other things. Maybe there's trauma in just keeping to themselves, or being told what to do, a doctrine, a dogmatic way of thinking, where they're being told what to do, or this is how it's done, right? In the Page of Wands reverse, small vision. They're not having fun. Unclear of how to achieve a vision, right? Or not knowing, all right, I have a goal, but like what are the steps to that goal, right? So that is the Page of Wands there, always ready, always ready. Knight of Wands, I believe this is from the Thoth, Thoth, or Thoth, depending on how you find yourself saying it. Tarot, which is a very occultist, eclectic deck. Deals with a lot of high ceremonial magic and shit I don't understand all the way, but it's quite an interesting deck. It calls to a bunch of people, and in this particular deck we have the Knight of Wands here. The Knights are one level above the pages in terms of their willingness to become kings and their maturity, and one step in terms of evolution and learning. Okay. When the Knights, we see something in motion, very similar to the pages where they're just starting off to be in motion. So there's not as much confidence. The Knights are a little bit more grounded. They're in their desire to move forward. So with the Wands, we're getting fast motion. We're getting impulsivity. We act without thinking with the Knight of Wands. It's go, go, go time. Just look at the elements of the yellows and the oranges and the reds that almost convey the sense of urgency, the sense of power, the sense of conviction, just in the stance of the horse in this illustration, and where the rider, I guess if you want to call them, is holding the horse's reins. You know, it's not at the neck, it's at the head. It's showing intense control over the orientation of where this horse is going. So a lot of similarities with the pages in the sense that we also have travel. It could be an unexpected visitor coming in. You might need to travel. There's something shifting and traveling in your life. May not always be physical travel. Could be, you know, your career is moving leaps and bounds, or the relationship is starting to move forward in a very exciting way. The dynamic you have with your ancestors, there's an intense ancestor coming through that really wants your attention, or they were kind of like a fire starter, a trailblazer, or a very, very sassy auntie, very sassy nana, somebody who's just, you know, just like a pioneer of sorts, right? Could be drama, could be assertion, you know, being very assertive, headstrong, extroverted, egotistical, high sexual energy, proud and confident, right? All that we see here, challenges. Sometimes there's challenges to commitment because the Knight of Wands gets bored very easily because they're just, it's like go, 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 right? This is not the Knight of Pentacles where it's slow and steady wins the race. It's a little too slow, but you know the dude's gonna get there at the end of the day. The Knight of Wands is like, I wanted to get there yesterday. I started today, I wanted to get there yesterday, right? And so sometimes there's a bit of unpredictability with this card because do they know what they're doing? You know, they're going so fast. Do they know what they're doing? Sometimes they don't. It depends on the other orientations of the cards. You will have to be savvy as to how you tie those things in together. And we'll go over that in the next couple of weeks. The Knight of Wands can also urge you, there's something that you need to finish that you haven't finished. Get to it. There's something that it's almost like I see this as a spirit, forgive my language, the spirit riding your ass in a way that's like, they won't let you go. They won't stop chattering. They won't stop being incessant and dropping hints and other things in your life that it's like, oh, finish that book. Oh, apply for that school. But you got to clean your house. And we're telling you, you have to clean your house 8 million times because what's coming? Like there's craziness coming outside in the world. So you have to spiritually clean your house and all this stuff, right? So things that they're trying to tell you over and over again that maybe you're like, I'm going to push it back, or you know that you need to do that you've been ignoring. Getting the Knight of Wands is like, get on it now. You had to get on it yesterday. So the urgency and the motivation that you need needs to be on the up and up. Knight of Wands also conveys some adventure, intensity, rebellion. Sometimes it's outbursts amongst people, or just this outburst of energy that you just did not expect coming out of nowhere, right? And of course, it is going to attract some sort of competition, whether it's competition with stuff or other people. That can happen as well. In the negative orientation, again, you've got that sloppiness, that carelessness, no sense of self-control, too much ego. There's failure with travel, or challenges and blockages with travel, a lack of commitment, okay? No motivation, or someone who's taking it overboard and is very violent, very aggressive. Someone who doesn't know how to speak efficiently, effective communication, someone who is just screaming and yelling, or not saying much of anything at all, but they're saying it in an aggressive manner. The Knight of Wands, right side up, can also mean movement, exercise, health. In reverse, something is stuck. No movement, no exercise. Maybe you have to get into your sexual side. Maybe you have to stretch. Maybe you have to run. Maybe you have to commit to a walk a couple times a week, or go to the gym, right? It can show bad health. Or it can show recklessness where you're doing a lot, but it's not providing any results because you're not doing it. You're not doing it with intention. You're not thinking clearly. Reverse can show someone who follows and does not lead, someone who is a player. All right. I don't take anything serious. or that they're partying around too much. Queen of Wands. I adore this illustration. This is from the African Tarot, African-American Tarot, because the African Tarot is a very different illustration and deck. But just by looking at the juxtaposition in the colors between the red and the blues and the greens and the browns, and almost like the black that is centering in the center here with their hair being in a beautiful afro-like composition and the black cat at the very bottom, you know, it is very, very telling. You know, the Queen of Wands automatically is it. Queen in any suit masters the emotional realm, right? So we see someone who embodies mastery over the fire element, which makes them very powerful because fire can destroy and it can also nourish, right? And so we see the Queen as an embodiment of someone who is on the neutral party of Wands, who tries to stay in balance. So in the positive orientation, we have someone who's empowered, who is all about power, who is got extreme maternal energy because all queens naturally have that maternal energy. They embody the divine feminine of their suit. But this is intense, right? So we're seeing someone who's a visionary, maybe even a mystic. When I pull the Queen of Wands for people, doesn't matter if doesn't matter their gender, is usually indicative that they have some gift or there is a gift in their lineage. It could be that there was a practicing priestess or a priest, or that they have powers of some sort, whether it's divination, conjuring, whatnot, because Queen of Wands embodies mysticism too. As we remember, Wands also involves the element of spirit, right? Along with the cups. I mean, they all kind of do embody spirit, but more popularly, the cups and the wands come out a lot when there's a lot of high spiritual activity or things such as indicators of a person being highly intuitive, highly skilled in the occult arts, in the metaphysical arts, and what have you. So here we see someone who is liberated and free. They have high self-esteem and worth. They know their power. Okay, they are magnetic. There is a charm to the Queen of Wands. And when Queen of Wands enters the room, everybody will either feel them or see them immediately. There's just no hiding it. Even if the Queen of Wands is wearing absolutely nothing captivating whatsoever, the energy is just going to radiate and go directly to the Queen of Wands, right? And so there's also a sense of being very honest and direct and blunt with that fire element, very nurturing, caring, protective. There's a strong protective energy. The Queen of Wands will fuck you up if you fuck up with their kids. That is the Queen of Wands, right? Queen of Wands could be asking you to start something new, but there's an essence to them that's both introverted and extroverted. And sees what's coming up on the horizon. So even though they're wands, you know, and that it seems to in and of itself be kind of an extroverted sign, we're thinking about the mastery of the sign, right? With the queens is the watery component of the sign. So it's like as if the water element and fire element together birth this queen. Mastering over the emotions. In order to master that, you have to be introverted. You have to know what it is that you're carrying to be able to control that fire. Because you get burned out very easily if you don't. You have to, it's this inner confidence that makes the Queen of Wands radiate all of this abundance in magic, in their sexiness and their appeal. They're very clairvoyant and they're very unique. However, in the negative orientation, in the reversal, they could be a controlling freak, a control freak, demanding, cynical, vindictive, manipulative. They don't trust the flow of the universe, therefore they don't trust their magic. They're very jealous and envious. They're afraid of their own power. They lack confidence. There's no trust in self. There's lack of spiritual awareness and connection, or they're burnt out. They're overwhelmed. They need to pull their energy back. It could also be advising not to share your gifts and your visions with anyone else. Now the King of Wands. Here we get full mastery over the wands, professionalism as well. Professional. We're seeing more like if the earth sign married the fire sign, that would give you the King of Wands. So someone who is fiery yet grounded, secure, not easily threatened. This is the type of person that goes after the challenge, that's ready for the smoke, literally, because they know that's what makes them such a great leader. They know that's where their blessings come from, is through the challenges, right? So the King of Wands, very innovative, sees 20 steps ahead, 10, 20 steps ahead of everybody, studying their opponent, honor and recognition, having an excellent team could be conveyed in the King of Wands. They're very powerful. They do things differently. They have a sense of pride to them. That's why you see them with the lion. And this could also be a representation of any fire signs as well. A lot of clarity in the King of Wands, phenomenal work ethic. And like I said, they invite challenges as opportunities for growth. All right. But in the negative orientation, you have someone who is a bully, who is a tyrant, who's a megalomaniac, who thinks that they're a god, who thinks that their way is their highway. It very extra and exaggerated, very dramatic. They don't have good vision. They talk the talk, they don't walk the walk, right? They're a pushover, they're lazy, they're arrogant, they give their power away too easily, or they don't have a vision for their empire. They're just full of shit, right? Or they're getting caught up too much in what people think of them, right? Rather than the mission, rather than the purpose. They take too many risks, they're hot-headed, they burn out, they're a nervous wreck, or there's no progress going on. It's very, very, very slow progress, right? Boom. Now we go into the numerical. So then we have the aces, which starts us off. Aces birth things. Aces is a very strong card for fertility, despite what suit you find it in. This is not just birth. This is the birth of energy, the birth of a new cycle, the birth of a new you, or it can be literally birth. It depends on the orientation of the cards. But this is something spontaneous. When we get a spontaneous combustion of fire, it comes out of thin air. It's like, oh, this extra energy that came out of nowhere. Sometimes it is a catalyst that incites change. And sometimes the catalyst with the Ace of Wands may not be disguised as something good. It may be something like burdensome that you experience in your life, or a sudden breakup, or something that you just didn't anticipate, but actually ends up leading you into a much more blessed position. A challenge that you will thrive from. Life is uprooted for the better. It is a yes card, but it's also a card that says you need to act now. Whatever it is that you're thinking of, whatever it is that you're doing, whatever it is that you are resonating with, you have to do it now. Again, that urgency is coming through. And usually when the Ace of Wands comes through, it's saying that the energy is about to be very busy. Things are about to pick up in a way that is going to be nonstop for some time. So again, we have the same themes: the moving, the traveling, the transitioning, the expansion in the way that you're perceiving yourself, and how you move in the world and how you perceive the world, and the empowerment, right? And personal power. But it is a big leveling up. It's a big leveling up. It's a new start. It's probably some challenges before you level up just to ensure that your spirit knows this person's ready for the next chapter. This person has graduated. They've learned all the material of what they've lived through successfully. Now they're ready for more energy to come into their life. And we'll see what they'll do with this next cycle. We'll see what they do with these lessons and these trials and tribulations and this energy, right? A continual mastery of self. In the negative orientation, the interest has dwindled. There's no spark. There is no external combustion. Maybe there is an internal combustion, like you're keeping your emotions and your frustrations and your anger to yourself to the point where it's now eating you alive. There could be delays in projects and events, or potential sexual problems, or lack of sexual interest, or lack of how to move in the world, or something that you started too prematurely was not ready to be full start, or someone who's who's incompetent. They lack initiative. They lack energy. Secrets and having too much fun can also be a result of the Ace of Wands in reverse. Two of Wands. I don't think this comes from an actual deck. I do not recall it coming from an actual deck when I found it. I believe it was from a random illustration online. Nevertheless, the Two of Wands is giving me hermit vibes. It's also giving me the Hobbit vibes. Lord of the Rings, right? And so you see someone who sees potential. You see someone who sees what's coming up on the horizon, quite literally with the sun arising behind them. They're seeing these new paths awaken within them and around them. But the problem is they've been too comforted. They've been too comforted. They know it's time to leave their comfort zone. Will they do so? Will they not do so? We don't know yet. So the Two of Wands usually is a predicament of assessing your situation and assessing your nerves in your courage. Usually this is an encouragement to expand. The grass is greener on the other side. Go for it. Go for it. You have to leave the coop, map out all the details and be clear before doing so, right? No, and make sure that you pray for clarity, or maybe this is waiting for plans to come into fruition. Or they know that there's more responsibility with these next moves that they have to make. Generally, this is like a crossroads of sorts where we see that a decision has to be made. Are you going to stay the same, or are you going to move forward into the unknown? And so in the reversal orientation, the negative orientation, strategy isn't so clear about how to do that. You might be stuck. Or personal goals are no longer motivating you, or they no longer fit what your spirits wants you to do. There's a fear of change, there's a fear of progression, there's a questioning of your own greatness. Maybe I'm not good enough, I'm not ready for this, I'm not ready to do this, Or there's, when we see the twos, it could also be a collaboration, a partnership with something that's not working out here in the orientation, a negative orientation. You need to start from scratch in some way. Now, don't ask me about this deck because I don't know it either, but I think somebody else did. So you can always ask the Facebook group. This Three of Wands is talking about the aftermath of the Two of Wands, whether or not they made that decision or not. And so the Three of Wands is giving you the green light to proceed. The courage is now there. The clarity on some regard is there. At least spiritually, you could be clear that this is the right move for me to make. I may not know what the steps are to make that move, but I know that I can at least move forward with this first step, right? So there is an essence of individuality in following your own blueprint and being very unique. And your efforts are paying off. Sometimes when you see this card, you see, okay, the work that you've done is creating something special for you. It is paying off. You still have a long way to go, but you're on the midst of freedom and expansion and something massive coming up on the horizon for you that is very bountiful and full of abundance. There is a potential long distance relationship, right? Opportunities for you to expand are coming, or being happy with your decisions. strong determination. This person does not want to be stopped and cannot be stopped. With the Three of Wands, you inherently have this idea that no one can stop me but myself, right? No one can stop me but myself. And so it begins. And so the journey begins. And again, the Wands pertain to spirit. So it is very much akin to a spiritual journey as well as whatever may physically be going on in your life. Negative orientation, we've got somebody who wants to play it safe, wants to play it small, or is having challenges with making things happen, or they have challenges and setbacks. The traveling is mixing up, or there's delays, lack of opportunity, or not seeing the opportunities. There could be a lot of opportunities. This person is so thick-headed that they don't see it for themselves, right? Or not trusting yourself to win. Now, when you also read this card, I am conveying it as like on a personal scale, personal level, but it is not always the case that it is an individual. You got to think about the overall energy of the card that can also be embedded in the characteristics of the character on the card. I hope you understood that. So lack of support, this person could feel lack of support when it's in reverse, right? Or this energy of not letting go of the past. They still have, they're not moving forward. They're still lingering in the past in some way. It's time to revisit the plans and the strategies, because maybe you move forward, but you're very upset with the outcome in some way. Okay. The Four of Wands. Now, this is from the Dust to Onyx. This is from the Dust to Onyx deck. And the illustration is quite stunning. Quite stunning. Here we see a community gathering for what may be a ritual, a ceremony. You know, when I see these gourds, they automatically, you know, remind me of water spirits and, you know, Oshun, the Moya, and any water spirits, and femininity and fullness, you know, making sure your cup is full, but a community or ancestors, family, a tribe of sorts, gathering together. And so 4 pertains to having a foundation. It pertains to stability, right? This can be reunion, happiness, and joy. It could be happiness on the other side of the spirit realm. It could be a blessed announcement that's coming. Somebody's birthing, you're birthing. Someone got the job, someone's getting married, someone's getting engaged, someone's in love, right? You guys are on vacation, you bought a new home, there's a new job. Just happiness, the spirits are very happy, or there's a reunion that's happening. It's protection. You know, your roots, you're selling your roots. There's gratitude and appreciation for what's happening in your life. You can sigh. Milestone has been reached or is about to be reached. Great success is conveyed in the Four of Wands. Now, in the negative orientation, you have a lot of instability. You know, things are not as solid. Maybe there's arguments in the family or even in the spirit realm. The ancestors are not settled. They need to work out on family karma. You need to work out on your foundation, whether it's your financial foundation, the emotional foundation, or the physical home you're living in needs to be cleaned. Any of the sort. There could be challenges in the home, discord in the home, a breakdown in communication with family or community, or not communicating with your ancestors efficiently, or not taking heed to the wisdom and the consultations of your elders that are living. You know, whether it be the elders in your family or those that you view as elders and you may not be related to. It could be a swift change that you did not expect, unexpectedly, you know, within the home or within the family members, your own dynamic. Not taking care of yourself too can also be conveyed in the negative orientation. Last but not least, for this part 1 video, we've got the 5 of Wands. And so here, this is also the Ghetto Tarot, and it's emulating the illustration in the 5 of Wands in the classic writer Waite Smith tarot deck. And here we see we see a lot of people in Discord and just staying faces on. We don't really know if they're about to fight each other, or they breaking up a fight, or they're just having a disagreement, or there's competition happening. So it could be all of the above. There's definitely no sense of leadership or structure. This disorganization that you can see even from the floor, right? You see a bunch of trash all over the place. The stances are kind of like all over the place too. And this could show that there's jealousy and envy, or that there's going to be conflict with others, maybe even conflict and jealousy and envy within yourself, or too much competition with self, too much on your plate, clashing personalities and energies, or lack of help. It could be fighting and arguments, pettiness, tension, a physical labor that needs to happen, or transition that, once in the blue moon, you'll get a transition that is Sahara. You'll get a transition that is somewhat enthusiastic, meaning that it could be like a fiery transition that is actually very, very good, but it's contingent on the other cards nearby. Now, in the negative orientation, you get violence, you get anger, you get, internal combustion. Maybe it was too much for you to handle things and implode. Inner discord and confusion, not knowing how to take a stand or make a stand or speak up for yourself. Maybe it's people missing the bigger picture, you missing the bigger picture, or not being keen on the people around you who don't mean well for you. It could be indicative in reverse of not having, the balls, for lack of a better word, the gusto, the courage to stand up for yourself, or to take a stand, or to say no, or to put proper boundaries. The reversal can also show that maybe there is an effort to making peace and harmony amongst this group, or amongst the chaos in your life. Maybe there is going to be some sort of a solution here, or there is this sense of not feeling intimidated and willing to do the work, and willing to be doing the most, kid, doing the work, and willing to focus. And maybe also it could be a signs of exhaustion. Sahara. I'm sorry, y'all. But anyway, you will be able to catch on to part 2. Okay. And I will be posting this up for y'all. So thank you.